What is going on, guys? Happy Friday. I'm going to be walking through this slate really quick. Going to be live on Sunday, but probably going to be the last thing we do is that show tonight for a little while. I'm going to try to do some stuff tomorrow, but I'm not 100% sure. So we're going to do a first look all together of what we're going to do and sort of just how I'm going to attack this slate. I know Sheets does a lot of videos, just sort of how he goes through his process. This is just my first looks, stuff, and you guys are pretty familiar with me. You probably know most of this stuff already. But I'm going to go through and sort of flag the players that I think are interesting on this slate. I think this projection seems completely crazy. It happens a lot in the morning. You get these weird projections. Like I guarantee you that Josh Hart projection is going to come down. You can see Goldie as an industry aggregate. They have it at 21. There's not even anybody questionable. So I'm kind of trying to figure it out. He has been getting a little bit more run. For right now, we'll just say projection-wise, we're going to probably keep him in the pool. Not a great matchup for anybody else. I think we can always consider a little Brunson or Barrett, but it's obviously a really, really tough matchup. You do have the cheap Grimes, but as we learned, sometimes doing stuff early can be a real problem when you've got so much stuff later on. So I'm gonna have to revisit this one a little bit later, but right now we'll leave Josh Hart with a little flag next to him. Knicks, another solid defensive team that doesn't play at a particularly fast pace. Nobody stands out on its face. This is probably the healthiest the Magic have been at the moment. If Isaac and Harris are out, it might open up some more minutes for Anthony Black, who finally showed a little bit of a ceiling. Personally, I'm probably going to be off of this game for the most part. I might revisit the Hart, DiVincenzo, quickly stuff for cheap stuff, but not a great game environment. Just probably not for me. So it looks like we're going to have Nick Claxton back again. These projections in the morning, you're going to have to give them a few minutes to round out because as of right now, you're looking at Day'Ron Sharpe looking like a great play, which I'm not even saying that he's not like an okay play, but Claxton's going to be back. We also saw some of the minutes go to Watford before, but if these guys were out, that'd be one thing. It is such a premium matchup that maybe you can consider these guys. It just seems a little bit like the wrong thing to do with the first games of the slate. But because the matchup is so good, I'm going to have Thomas, Dinwiddie, and Bridges all on my list. The problem I have is I think that the best answer is simply Bridges. He's probably the one I feel the most comfortable with. Thomas certainly has the upside, and Dinwiddie is probably just a little bit too cheap for the matchup. But right now, I think I would probably make Bridges my favorite. I think you could even include Cam Johnson and DSJ in some of your stuff. But I think that you're definitely going to want some exposure to this Brooklyn team, especially if you're multi-entering. And right now, for me, Bridges is the top guy. Moving over to Washington, it's a good matchup for them as well. I am not going to prioritize Daniel Gafford, but I actually think that he's a better play than maybe he's getting treated with. I think 6K is completely reasonable. Look, we could play the Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma thing. It's been a while since we've seen a real game from Kuzma. I am kind of open to the idea, excuse me, just closed my screen. I'm kind of open to the idea of using a little bit of Kuzma here. They've had some tough matchups lately. I'm not going to make him a priority by any means, but I do think that he is a guy I might be revisiting later on in the day. As Kuzma, Avdia, or Poole, I think are all interesting enough in this matchup to take some shots. Poole makes me sick to watch him play, but you just hope for the upside game and they don't play 100 guys. The problem is they are playing 100 guys, and I don't really know why, to be honest with you. Anyway, separate conversation, I guess. De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis in literally a nut style matchup with low ownership. I think I can talk myself into that. You see the early projection because the lack of value is loving Harrison Barnes. Even only at a 4 projection, you see the ownership as at 25%. We'll see about Harrison Barnes. I have the Sacramento team as a big question mark. I'd like to do something here. I think that Keegan Murray also getting a lot of ownership. I think Keegan Murray's fine, but I just put Sacramento with one of Murray, Fox, or Sabonis would probably be the way I'd go. I don't mind the Lyles idea. You have a team that plays 2 bigs, and it's going to be Sabonis, Lyles, but Lyles could get low 20 minutes potentially tonight. So he's something to consider for maybe for some value later on if we really need it. But the main ones are going to be one of Murray, Fox, or Sabonis. Probably going to lean Fox actually a little bit, but we'll see later on. I'm just trying to figure out, first look for me too. On the Atlanta side, again, great matchups on both sides here. It's hard to get to the spend ups, but it's hard not to like Trae Young. I think DeJounte Murray is going to be traded very soon. I'm hearing a lot of word that that's going to happen. I don't know what that necessarily means for tonight, but as of right now, I do have Trey as like the slight priority. But I do think if you're not playing Trey, playing some Murray certainly makes some sense. It also allows you to have that more middling build that we like. But they are getting back to fully healthy with Jalen Johnson now back. It's not quite as appealing to play them. You do still have DeAndre Hunter out, but really not a whole lot else to that stands out. These forwards, you can sort of see where the forwards are getting all these giant ownerships in these 6K ranges, just because there aren't that between 5 and 6,500. They're just all going to get owned some. So as of right now, I'm not going to make Jalen Johnson a priority, but I'm sorry, Jalen Johnson or Saddiq Bey. And if I had to pick one, I think I might pick Jalen Johnson. Just a little worried about the minutes coming back. Toronto at Boston, very unlikely that I do too much from this, with the exception of a little Schroeder revenge. And I think that's actually reasonable. I think Schroeder actually could do some damage here tonight. And he's got a nice price. Nobody likes to play Scotty Barnes, but I just remind everybody in these tough matchups, sometimes you need your best player. And you've got Boston, who almost lost to Detroit last night. They're probably going to bounce back with a vengeance. But I think everybody on Toronto is actually kind of interesting. And I will probably put Schroeder as like the one play I actually feel like comfortable clicking. But it's not like a great spot or anything. It's just 5,900, former team on the road. Boston's on the back-to-back. I think this is a spot where we could take a shot on Schroeder. All right, on the Boston side, we have all the questionables. You'd think that it was going to be one of Tatum or Brown last night. You'd think that Brown will be back and Tatum will be out. So we can't do anything else with Boston without putting a giant question mark next to them, because we are probably going to end up wanting some exposure here if we lose Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown being the most natural one, but you also have Porzingis on a back-to-back. That could open up some more stuff. So this Celtics game might have a lot of stuff, and it might have very little. If everybody plays, I think just playing Tatum is probably a good idea. I also think getting some Jaylen Brown, because he didn't play last night, would be logical anyway. So fine with Boston either way, but I have a feeling we're going to see some people sitting. Milwaukee and Cleveland. As always, great projections for Giannis, and he's probably going to smash or put up 60. It's not even smashing necessarily, but look, it's hard to get to him. I do like Giannis for what it's worth. Middleton has been really, really good coming back. A little bit expensive, but again, you see all those guys in the 6K range is what everyone's trying to do today. So I don't know, something to keep in mind. This is not the ideal matchup, but like Giannis is 11K. That's totally reasonable. It's just a matter of, can we get him in? We'll know that a little bit later today, I guess. We've had Mitchell out now, and they keep projecting him to play. If he's out again, you guys know the rule. Like you know the drill. We're back to Craig Porter. Even at 6,600, probably back to a decent amount of LeVert. Probably take some shots on Max Struss. That's the main ones. And then depending on what happens with Merrill too, we might get some extra value, but I don't really know. I guess Niang would be the other one who would benefit, but certainly going to have to figure out the Donovan Mitchell news. So maybe we have those early games, the 7 o'clockers, and I do like this Nets Brooklyn situation. But it shows you already that why delaying can help, because we might have some information that we're still waiting on after the 7 p.m. games. I hope not, but we might. All right, Philadelphia at Houston. I am going to go right back to the Philly stuff here. It's not a great matchup at all. Philly's played well without Embiid. Maxey has not played well. I am not worried about it overall. I will go right back to Maxey. Maxey and Harris I have as the priorities. I don't mind if you want to flip that and make it Melton and Oubre. I'll have combinations of both, but I will be very high on this. And I am going to be one who probably is a little higher on the Reed or Bamba situation. I do think that it somewhat has some variance in it, but I would rather get overweight these situations. I think both these guys have the ability to get 30 plus, potentially even 40 in Reed's case. And I think they're going to want, you're going to want the bigs out there against Şengün. Foul trouble, always a thing. Maybe Mo Bamba is an interesting thing we could do off the bench here for Philly. Other than that, okay, so on the other side, that's partly what I like about this Philly today is if you can play 3 or 4 of them, you have some nice run backs. I like Van Vliet at this price. I like Şengün actually, and he's going to be unowned because of the way things are going to break out. I think the idea would be that you play one of those guys. Right now, Van Vliet makes more sense because of position eligibility, price, etc. but I would have no problem jumping over to Şengün later today. If Tari Eason is out, I'm assuming he's going to play, by the way. If he's out, we can do some other stuff. And Amen Thompson is starting to get some run here to where I'm probably going to end up a little higher than the field on him, at least until we find other value. So I like Amen Thompson here as a potential spend down, especially, I mean, we have Eason questionable, so that's going to make him look like a better play if he's out. But the problem is you also get Cam Whitmore in there, who's another really talented rookie. So it might be one of these days we'll get Eason out and we'll have somebody else out. We already have Jabari out. So we'll get that's where the stuff's coming from. But Eason's probably going to play today, and he's probably a really good play. So I like this whole game. I think that Philadelphia, Houston, and also it allows us to delay and we can adjust. Philadelphia, Houston, unfortunately with Houston, they're slow and they play defense and all that stuff. But I do think that it's a good enough environment and the good enough prices on the Houston guys with no Jabari Smith and obviously Philadelphia with no Joel Embiid. So that's probably a game you want to be targeting right there. Charlotte. So tonight we have Cody Martin doubtful. If they raised his price and made him doubtful at the same time. Hayward out, obviously Williams still out. So is obviously LaMelo. So Brandon Miller seems like a very logical guy. It is a back-to-back. It's a little concerning to me. I'm still going to put him in my first look as one of my guys. But I don't feel like incredible about it. And I'm kind of curious what to do with this other stuff. If we take away the Martin projection, McGowan's probably the biggest beneficiary, but it could end up being like Nick Smith Jr., Ish Smith. So I'm not really sure what else to do yet. I'd like to see some projections rerun without Cody Martin before I make my final decisions. Quick reminder, guys, please do click the like button. We appreciate all you guys who tune in every day, and we want to keep doing these videos for free, so please click that like button when you get the chance. We may get Bradley Beal tonight, so that's cool. Finally playing. I actually think his price is low enough to where you consider it. I probably won't do it, but just wanted to throw it out there. I think it's reasonable. I don't think it's bad. And I'm probably going to be, it's a good game environment. I'd like to get a little bit more than just my early on look at Brandon Miller as a play, but maybe I should reconsider this. Actually, I think I should probably think about a little bit of Rozier. Why is the projection so bad? Am I missing something? Something's up with these projections. Rozier should not be projected for 30 fantasy points. I'm really not sure what's going on with that. There's no way, in no world, should Brandon Miller have a higher projection than Terry Rozier with no LaMelo. I don't get that. So we'll figure that one out later today as well. I will probably do my builds this afternoon a little bit later because there's a lot of news that we're waiting for, and I would like to know whether Kogi and Beal are playing, hopefully too. But that is stuff we probably won't get till later. Then we have the final, the final games are only at 6 tonight, 9 Eastern. That's nice. It doesn't mean we don't have to stay doing this till 10:30 Eastern like we have been having to do lately. Early in the day, because I'm expecting value to open up, I just like to have guys like Cason Wallace as potentially, somebody to use. It is weird because it's really just betting on the fact that they're starting to give him more minutes. And one of he or Isaiah Joe is fine. I don't think this is not going to end up being a priority by any means for me. Neither will Lou Dort, but I think they're both interesting. I'm just going to plug it for right now because it is a later game and we are going to have some value open up. So I will click on that button. On the Denver side, Peyton Watson was great last night. I'm happy to go right back to him tonight. I assume they'll start again. Holiday was good off the bench. I'm not going to get into that. I'd rather take a shot with Strother or Braun if I had to do anything, and I'm not going to do that either. They did raise the price on Porter, but probably not enough on Jamal Murray. On the back-to-back, it is a little tougher, but OKC plays fast. It should be a very competitive game. This is a very big game. So I'm okay with getting to Murray especially, but I would have no problem going right back to Jokic too. The problem is how do we get him in? And I guess it's guys like Peyton Watson. It's guys like maybe we consider Cason Wallace, or you know what I mean? We don't necessarily need to play those guys. We just need them as placeholders until we get the better value that we hope does arrive. Anyway, guys, that's a quick first look for you. Hope everybody has a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that nonsense. I will have my content out a little bit later. As you guys know, I've only been posting my content into the Discord channel. I'm not doing it on the site for the end of the year because I've just been sort of scattered and all over the place. But I'm still getting everything out every day. Every player swap I was on top of last night and updating everybody in the Discord. Hopefully you guys find it valuable. I think it's incredibly important to be on top of that stuff if you're going to try and play basketball. Anyway, let's finish the season strong. Good luck, everybody, tonight. and let's get it.